kind of industry, sort of 24/7 kind of lifestyle. I burned out. I had no work-life balance, as they call it. But yoga was a constant for me throughout that period. And I always say it helped me maintain some degree of sanity. So after I left that work, I started teaching yoga and kind of expanded my business to also incorporate healthy cooking, sort of educating people, not from a nutritional standpoint as a dietitian, but just kind of incorporating a little bit of what can we do to make healthier choices. I've worked with children as young as 3 to seniors as old as 98. And yeah, incorporating creativity, coaching, and now also I'm a therapist. So really kind of working with people on a different sort of deeper level. I like to view people through a holistic lens. So really kind of, it's really important that we see ourselves, right? Not just as one particular, the worker or the wife or the partner or the mom or whatever. We're very multifaceted people, and all these different facets need to be nourished, right? So that we can be feeling a little bit more balanced in our lives. I'm going to ask you a question now, so you don't have to answer out loud, but I invite you to just kind of pause here for a moment and take note of what is your current stress level like today from 1 to 10. How do you respond to stress? And if you don't know exactly what I'm talking about here, don't worry, I'm going to explain it later in the presentation. The fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response. What's your kind of go-to? What do you think? If you had to guess, what do you think? And do you have any go-to techniques to help you manage stress effectively? Well, some of us do, right? And sometimes it's just a little bit about how do we expand that a little.
Well, it's kind of scary that nobody is showing up. There's only a couple of people that I actually see this morning or this afternoon. That might not be such a good sign. I am much better than I used to be as far as the stress goes, I guess. And I have ways that I would, I relieve that stress. So that's good. I will go for a walk. I will get up and go around. I have a treadmill right behind me.
Great.
So I do that. I listen to music. I meditate. I pray. A lot of things that I do. But I also, my stress, a lot of the source of stress was relieved I think by changes that were made within my company. So.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, because I was going to ask you what do you feel changed that has made it easier?
Yeah, a lot of people know. We went through some different changes at New Life. I'm actually the person that started New Life with other founders in 2013, and we actually brought in a new president last January 6th, and she's remarkable. She is absolutely amazing, remarkable in more ways than I can even share with you. So
That's wonderful.
She's well liked and extremely respected and regarded. She has made some changes that were needed, and she's great. She takes a lot of the pressure off, but I do feel it from her.
But I mean, I think this is such an important thing that we need to understand culturally, is that effective leadership, or the appropriate type of leadership, makes such a difference, and it pays dividends. It really does, in terms of performance in the workplace. The old way was very much that the carrot or the stick, and that, in my opinion, is not the way forward in for any long-term sustainable growth of any company.
Yeah. No, and it's when you look at, you know, what it is. I mean, we work with people with brain and spinal cord injuries, so that's what we do. We're a rehab provider, and so it's extremely stressful just by that alone.
Sure.
And then you know, but getting her in, we waited a long time to get her, and she's just really remarkable.
That's great. I'm happy to hear that. Good
Yes,
for you guys.
yes, yeah.
Good for you.
It's amazing. When I was thinking about this, I actually gave this thought today, which is also a really good thing, because normally I would just jump on something, but I was thinking about, you know, how has that the change, you know, how has that really affected me? Is that part of it, and how much of a part is that? And I don't think we realize some of the stresses that um, you're right, in leadership roles, if the person is not of the right mindset, and has a style that is I don't want to say the words, but you know, you have to have a very positive attitude. You have to recognize people,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, empathize with them, as well as make sure that they feel that the you know, they're following someone that they want to follow,
Right.
because they see, you know, you can visualize um, where you're going. And if you have, I think a lot of people don't realize it, and you know what that can do. It can really change, you know, the way you're thinking.
Absolutely. I mean, there's that term of compassionate leadership, which is, you know, leaders who, first of all, have the capacity for empathy and are able to see their team and their staff as not just another cog in the wheel, or not just another number, right? And people feel that, right? Because we are beings. I mean, you guys work in brain and spinal cord rehab, so you definitely have an understanding from like the neurological standpoint, you know, the mirror neurons and all these things that, whether it's said or not, people are feeling that connection, right? So if somebody is sincere and cares about you, you're gonna make a little bit more effort. You might not sit on your phone at work and TikTok the whole day long, you know. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, not having that it's like you don't have something hanging over you, and you feel, you know, we're dealing with compassion and passion and care and expertise and all those things with what we do for the patients and the clients and the injured workers that we you know, that we serve,
right.
as well as the families. But the staff are the ones that are actually doing all that, you know, for the company.
Yeah.
So you have to have, and she's proven that, like, time and time again. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing. I see a couple of hands. Mari, can you help me here navigate the hands?
Yes, let's see here.
Oh, there it is. Let me shut up.
Don't see any questions. Has anybody asked any questions? Because I don't see questions. I just see people commenting.
I have my hand raised. It's Shannon.
Oh, Shannon, I didn't see you with your hand raised. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm actually on twice because I'm having volume issues.
Oh,
so
I see it here. Yes, I see you now.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, I had to log in twice. But I just wanted to say a couple of my team members actually are joining us from the Palm Beach County School District. So I'm really excited that they're on board, and HR folks. So I'm really proud of them. And so this is such an important topic. And I wanted to just bring attention, Christina, because I don't know if you're aware, but there's a lot of engagement happening in the chat box. So I don't know if you can see that
I'm
or
just
not.
looking at that now.
Excellent. Because I don't want you to feel like we're not engaged. I think they
Yeah.
are. They're just utilizing that function.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm a very high stress, big picture person, but I feel like I do a really good job keeping it stamped down. But I kind of live and probably thrive within the 6 to 8 area because it allows me to just be myself and work really hard in that area,
Right.
where I know for others it's not sustainable, right?
Right.
Um, but I also am a fight person when I respond to stress, meaning it just kind of gets me going a little more. But I absolutely have to take walks or go to the beach to kind of get down to that 5, so that I can relax enough to go to bed or something.
Right.
So.
Right. And also, yeah, thank you for sharing. It's, first of all, I'm also very happy to have folks from, you said from the Palm Beach Palm Beach schools. Very exciting. That's also, my gosh, so important, right? Because that trickles downhill to the children. Yeah, I mean, we all have these natural sort of what our baselines are, right? And in terms of stress, there is, eustress, which is that sort of optimal level of stress that is motivating enough, right? It is a little bit that stress of like, okay, let me kind of motivate and get things done. It was, it's an important biological function, because otherwise we would not have motivation to like eat or, get the resources that we require. But of course, that kind of in our current society can go a little haywire. So, yeah, it's really important also to kind of ground down. And the fact that that you're a fighter, we all kind of have generally 1 to 2 kind of standard responses.
Hi, I lost audio.
Yeah, can't hear.
Christina, we lost you. We lose her completely?
I think she fell off. Does she control the slide? Because maybe we can just go to the next slide. There we
No,
go.
she does. She's sharing her screen.
Excellent.
Oh no. Okay, just give me a minute.
Mhm.
Yeah, we could see her video. It just seems like the audio is the part that's lost.
Yeah, she's not connected, so I'm trying to reach her right now.
Hey, it's not a Zoom meeting without tech problems, right?
Right.
So while we're waiting, if I'm just going to take the initiative here, why doesn't everybody throw in the chat 1 word to describe how they feel right now? Just 1 word. Let's see if we can engage everyone. Doesn't have to be work related. It can be personal, professional. Just toss in the chat 1 word to describe how you've been feeling. Everybody's doing such a great job. Prayers to you, Jacqueline. I don't know the situation, but you definitely have my prayers. I'm grateful to see the hopeful and happy, fulfilled, excited. For those of you that feel overwhelmed, that's why we're here, right? Is to learn a little bit about that stress management piece and find camaraderie and being part of a group. I think that's the best piece, is just the fact that we can gather as professionals, no matter what our career field is. So, yay, we'll keep sharing with you, Jacqueline. Absolutely. So, great responses. So hopefully, we'll get Christine back on here.
I think it's awesome to be in a group like this and to have these types of conversations, because I don't think a lot of companies are having enough of these types of conversations, and it's something that everyone can benefit from. So thank you.
So she did have some technical issues. She's logging in right now. She apologized. So give her a minute or two. I'm in the lookout. But thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Tandeka.
No problem. This stuff happens all the time. It's just nice to have everybody
Now
in the
I'm
same
stressed.
place. So, no stress. It's
My
all
word is
good.
stress right now. Let's see, waiting room.
I'm actually pretty tickled that nobody put in drink. There's no concern of alcohol abuse within our group, so that's good.
That's a good thing. It's a good sign.
Learning to cope in our various ways, whether it's walking or gardening or whatever, the beach.
I'm so sorry about that, everybody.
It's
right?
okay.
Like the unexpected will always happen.
It happens the best. So Christina, in that gap, I just had everybody put like one word to describe how they're feeling today. So if you look in the chat, we just kind of talked a little bit about that to keep the energy going, and it's all back to you.
Great. Awesome. Thanks so much. So let me get myself organized here with my screen share again. So here we go. So we're talking about stress and what is stress, right? So what we were saying before was the basics with anything that makes it, I don't want to use the word disorder because we're not here to pathologize anything, but it's really like when you're dealing with something, it becomes problematic when it disrupts your ability to function. So is the stress getting so intense that it disrupts your day-to-day functioning? Then that's a very big indication that, it's time to kind of look at that and maybe explore changing kind of what you're doing, or where can you change. One thing that I thought was interesting to look at was stress versus anxiety, right? They're both emotional responses, but stress, and this is according to the American Psychological Association, stress is typically caused by an external trigger. So that could be something short-term, long-term, and the sort of experience, the symptoms, irritability, anger, fatigue, muscle pain, digestive problems, difficulty sleeping, are also very similar to the symptoms that people experience when dealing with anxiety, right? So kind of anxiety is a persistent and excessive worry that doesn't go away, even in the absence of a stressor. And I think what can happen sometimes is that chronic stress can really exacerbate anxiety, so that even when that individual stressor goes away, the nervous system, the body, the mind, have become so conditioned to kind of operating at a certain level that it doesn't know how to function without that tension, right? And so we kind of see this chronic anxiety. And we definitely have a problem with chronic anxiety in children and adults, for sure, especially after this last year. So I wanted to kind of share a little bit about, and this is just a quote here, I wanted to share a little bit about kind of on a very rudimentary, basic level, kind of the brain functions. So I find that this can be helpful for us to kind of understand where it is that we're coming from when we're stressed, right? So I like to kind of teach this in a way, it's a little silly, but I think it lands. So the reptilian brain is, right, this is our basic functions: eating, sleeping, digestion, just the very basic functions as a human being. The limbic brain is the emotional or feeling brain. These two systems work very closely together, especially when there's stress. The neocortex, the prefrontal cortex, which is here, that allows us to see things clearly, make wise decisions, what they call executive functioning, can kind of really be impacted by overstimulation of the limbic and reptilian brain systems, right? So I kind of explain it as this reptilian limbic brain area is a guard dog, but it's not a pit bull, it's a chihuahua. And it's going to bark at everything because that's what it's trained to do. It's trained to scan for threat. But it's going to bark equally at the robber that's coming as it is the Amazon delivery person, right? That part of our brain is not that sophisticated. And when we're kind of wired with this chronic stress, either you've experienced this or maybe you've witnessed people experiencing it. In moments of high stress, people don't behave rationally, let's say. It's partly because they don't have access to the rational or thinking brain. So the big question is, how do we facilitate that, right? Because it's possible, of course. It just takes some training. So this kind of goes a little bit more into just describing, right, the functions of these different areas of the brain. And we can get really caught up in this sort of this left side when we're in a reactive mode. So we have a reactive mode and we have a responsive mode. And when an event happens or a stressor occurs, our tendency is going to go into this sort of reactive mode. That's the fight, flight, freeze, fawn mode as well. When we start practicing to train our brain to respond differently, we can recognize the stressor, maybe recognize the emotions, the things that are coming up, the desire to respond in a certain way. But there's a little window there of pause. So, I mean, I don't know about you all, but I know I get super stressed out on driving on I-95. And I'm like, I swear like a truck driver. I'm a rageaholic. I will say that. On I-95, I have zero tolerance for what I deem to be stupidity on the highway, right? So I'm totally coming from this mammalian, lizard brain area. In my normal everyday to-day life, I'm very easygoing. I'm pretty laid back. I'm able to access, right, logic, rational thought, control my emotions. So what do I need to do to get there when I'm driving on I-95? Because if I let it go, I can end up in a dangerous situation. I mean, that's how road rage happens, all jokes aside. So how do we start to kind of get there, right? So we're going to get there. So stress has a huge impact on the body, right? Because stress is related to inflammation, and inflammation is related to disease. And that affects our cognitive functioning, our cardiovascular functioning, our joints and our muscles, our immune system, our skin, our gut, our reproductive system. I'm going to pause here for a moment. Are there any questions, comments, anything? No, we're good. Okay. Now, I want to share with you the connector between the mind and the body. And it's the vagus nerve. So I know this is all like very sciencey, but I feel it's important for people to have a little bit of this basic information, because when you understand what is happening in your body, then you become a little bit more empowered and you can do something. When you don't understand what's happening and you don't understand your body, you have no control and you have no power. So the vagus nerve is a fascinating nerve. It is the largest nerve, and it goes from the brain to the major organs and is hugely important in the nervous system. When we are overstimulated or understimulated, we can basically work with the vagus nerve to help us regulate our nervous system and regulate our emotions. The interesting thing about the vagus nerve is that this is a nerve that 80% of the information that moves in this nerve moves from the body to the brain, not from the brain to the body. That means that what is happening in your body is informing the information that your brain is receiving, right? It is informing your brain. So if your muscles feel really tight, your brain is going to interpret that as like, wow, I'm really tense. I'm really anxious. What is going on here? Right? This is why grounding exercises, and I'm going to teach you a number of different exercises, can be really, really helpful. Okay. Any questions? Nope. Oh, let me check the chat here. Okay.
No questions at this time, Christina.
Okay. All right. Thanks. So we talked a little bit at the beginning about the trauma responses or the stress responses, right? So these are the 4 responses. The fawn is not very commonly discussed. That kind of has originated out of a book called Complex PTSD by somebody called a therapist called Pete Walker. It's an amazing book, but it makes a lot of sense. So we have the fight, which everybody understands, right? We have the flight, which is running away. It's also chronic worry. It's panic. It's anxiety and fear. It's perfectionism. We have freeze, right? So kind of spacing out, dissociating, kind of being frozen. And then the fawn is really interesting because the fawn is, I think a lot of folks do this, especially a lot of women. It's a little bit of the social conditioning as well. So that kind of becomes a go-to, you know, if that's kind of in your wiring. And part of this is to help you understand, okay, maybe these might be some of my predominant go-tos. Like, I don't know. I mean, I would say for me, I'm probably a flight and a fawner. That's generally where I land. You know, I invite you to, if you feel like you want to share, I welcome, you know, you to share. But I know that if I kind of let things go unchecked, I definitely go into like chronic worry, into perfectionism, like overworking, which ties really beautifully with people pleasing and avoiding conflict and prioritizing other people's needs over my own, not saying no, not establishing boundaries, all those things. I mean, I experienced all of this in my professional airline career for sure. So yeah, a mix of freeze and fight. Thank you for sharing. Fight. Yeah, I think it's not unusual to have different responses for different areas of your life, for sure. I think that is totally normal, because you're filling different roles, right, in different areas of your life. So at work, you're fulfilling a different role than you are if you're a parent, for example. Like, you know, if you're a parent to toddlers, are you gonna kind of have to prioritize somebody's needs ahead of your own? Sometimes, yes. Yeah, that's a reality, right? So it's not to say that there's anything inherently wrong with any of these responses, because these are mechanisms that have been developed in your system for a purpose, right? They have kept you safe in your life, right? Super, super important. The point is more about developing some awareness. Like, when is that little chihuahua going, oh my gosh, we're gonna go into our fight mode or our flight mode here because, you know, the mailman is coming with your Amazon delivery. When you know, in your rational mind, you're like, dude, relax, it's okay. It's just, you know, it's just the toilet paper. Like, it's okay. It's okay. Right? So it's about beginning to discern, like identify, okay, this is like maybe my baseline, my go-to. And then you can start to recognize, oh, it's showing up here. And oh, it's showing up here. And now I can, okay, I see what's happening. And I can start to self-regulate. So here we go. And let's learn about self-regulation, right? So it is a superpower. It is learning when to respond, learning how to respond, learning the respond versus the react. And this is going to be the opportunity for us to practice. So I'm going to teach you some of these exercises. What we have is we have what's called top-down regulation, and we have bottom-up regulation. So top-down means we are essentially using our cognitive skills to regulate our system, right? So then we have, on the other hand, we have the bottom up, where we're using our body to help calm down our mind. All right. So if you have like a little pen, a paper, something nearby, what I invite you to do is just take notes, like, of after we do an exercise, how does that exercise feel? Okay, some of them will do the exercise, some of them I'll just kind of talk about them. as we definitely have time to do some of these, and some of these are really, really great. I want to teach you these. So we're going to start with the top down. So you can think about something, you know, think about something that is mildly stressful, right? And see if you can notice some of the story that comes up with that. An example would be, for myself, I can say I have an exam that I need to study for. So, you know, some of the thoughts might be like, oh, really, another exam? I'm so tired of studying. It's such a pain. You're never going to get it done, right? That's some of the narrative that comes up. So we start to challenge that and we say, okay, where's the proof, right? We look for actual proof, like, has this failed in the past? How have you overcome a similar stressor? And you really like kind of interrogate yourself. That can work for sure. The next thing to look at is name the thought or feeling that comes up. So sometimes when we're feeling dysregulated, we don't know what we're feeling, right? So take a moment, pause. I am feeling anxious driving on I-95 because I worry that somebody is going to be reckless and crash into me, right? That already gives a little bit of space from the high emotion, right? Because you have to actually stop for a moment. The balloon visualization, I'm going to invite you. This is a little bit of a bottom-up one too, but I'm going to invite you to join me, and I'm actually going to guide you into this for, you know, it's just a couple of minutes. So I invite you to just sit however it is that you're sitting. You can close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. If not, you can keep your eyes open. That's totally fine. And just take a breath here, just a nice big deep breath. And exhale. And just see if you can notice the sensation of your feet on the ground, and your bottom in the chair, and your back against the back of the chair. Just kind of noticing those sensations. And I want you to imagine that you have a balloon in your lap. And you're holding this balloon. And in the balloon is a problem. A problem or a challenge that you're dealing with. And just see it in that balloon for a moment, holding it really lightly and not gripping it, just kind of, and the balloon can be any color that you like. Now, I want you to imagine yourself 5 or 10 years from now, standing across from yourself now. And as your 5 or 10-year older self, look at your present day self and just observe. What do you notice? What is this person feeling? What would the future you tell the current you about the problem in the balloon? Just noticing listening. And slowly coming back to yourself. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes. And just notice if anything came up. Notice if you have a slightly different perspective on the situation. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. That's an exercise in building psychological flexibility. Being able to see also from different perspectives. Does anybody want to share on that? How that experience was for you? Okay, good, great. Thank you, Noelle. So if you're a teacher, you can do that with children too, right? Because children have amazing imaginations. So that future self, or you're a parent, right? You can do that with a kid. Because if they can't really quite imagine their future self, they can imagine a superhero, right? A champion of some kind. So that's always kind of something to go with.
Christina,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you before you move on. We do have a question.
Yes.
So that what they're saying is at work, personal is fun. Is that unusual to have different responses for different areas of your life?
Yeah, that is, I think that is normal, because we're definitely kind of filling different roles in different, aspects of life. Oh, I'm not the same person I am as a therapist, right? As I am as a partner, as I am as a daughter, as I am as an aunt, what have you, right? As a friend, like you're presenting, we're multifaceted people. That's kind of my point. It's like, I always think like you're a diamond or you're a quilt, right? So you have all these different facets and all these different parts. So it would make sense that in certain domains, in certain parts of your life, that you have kind of a more of a go-to kind of response, right? And in other areas, you have another kind of go-to response. Yeah, so I think that's totally normal.
Thank you, Christina.
You're very welcome. The next one is call it as you see it, call it as you don't. This is a super silly game. I discovered it from somebody that uses improv to help mental health, for mental health. Essentially, you would set a timer. You could do a timer for a minute, or for a minute. I'm kind of just going to lead you through it quickly or describe it quickly. Because I do want to have you do a couple of the breathing exercises, and I want to make sure that we have time to ask some questions. So basically, call it as you see it. You set a timer for a minute, you walk around and you point at stuff and you say, okay, scissor, light. You call it as you see it. It's a cognitive exercise, right? Clock. Notebook, paper, so forth and so on. Then you switch it and you call it as you don't. So you set another timer and basically you point at something, but you cannot use the word that it is to describe the object. So in front of me, I have my laptop. So I have to be like, point at the laptop and call it, I don't know, a salad, whatever. Right? So because of the cognitive exercise that you're doing, first of all, you're building your cognitive skills. Secondly, you're completely removing attention from the stressor, right? You're moving your mind into a completely different space. So that in itself is a super fun kind of game. You can do it in the workplace. It might feel a little corny, I don't know, but it works. It works with families. It works with kids. Kids love it. And it works for you, you know, like there's nobody said adults can't have fun. Nobody said adults can't be silly. I think we need to have a little bit more of that. On the bottom up exercises, we have, I'm going to just quickly go through them here, and then we'll try like 2 of them. So grounding your body is basically what we did at the beginning of the balloon exercise, right? Asked you to notice your feet, asked you to notice your bottom in the chair, your back in the chair. That's a grounding exercise. And you can do that kind of in minutia. You can think about, okay, I'm noticing my pinky toe, the next toe, right? Mari, I think you mentioned yoga nidra. So it does kind of go into the area of yoga nidra as well, right?
Yeah.
Box breathing. If any of you follow Brene Brown, she actually talks about box breathing, which is inhale for 4, for a count of 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. So inhale, hold, exhale, hold, and repeat. The Valsalva maneuver. So the Valsalva maneuver, these in particular, the breathing exercise, these all stimulate the vagus nerve. Okay, so this is what we're doing. We're now, this bottom up means that we are working with the body to send the message up the vagus nerve to the brain. So the Valsalva maneuver is kind of interesting. You take a big breath, you pinch your nose, you blow out, and then release. So it's like you blow out, you fill your cheeks, don't release, because you're increasing the tension in the chest cavity. I invite you, you know, just experiment. Like, I don't see you, you know, so go ahead. If something feels weird, try it, right? Like if it feels uncomfortable, maybe don't do it. Diving reflex. Going to the sink and splashing cold water, right? So you're kind of like holding your breath, right? When you dive into the water, you hold your breath and you're getting that cold water in your face. These are all really good tools for regulating and kind of bringing that high level of agitation down. The tapping, I don't know if anybody's heard of tapping. It's a thing, it's called emotional freedom technique. Also, it's kind of based on acupuncture, acupressure in those family, in that range. Basically, one of the areas that you can tap is right underneath your collarbones. There's this indentation here in the middle, and you can kind of tap there. You have used it in counseling, yay, yes. Thank you for your feedback. And Samantha, thank you for your feedback too. So tapping here in your chest, actually, it creates a vibration in your body. And that vibration, which brings me to humming, right? It stimulates that vagus nerve. You're going up to the brain. That's why like chanting and things like yoga, singing, right? It doesn't have to be yoga. Singing is so good for you because you have that vibration that it goes and it helps you regulate. So humming, just, you can hum, you can, right? Like I feel corny doing it, but it's really helpful. And the last one is working on extending your exhalation. So the longer the exhalation, the more that you are turning on the parasympathetic nervous system. So the part of the nervous system that is there to calm you down, the rest and digest nervous system. So we breathe in for a count of, let's say, 4. And we breathe out for a count of 6. So 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you do a variety of cycles of that. So you could do like a cycle of 5, see how it works for you. I mean, there are a lot of these types of exercises. This is just a small amount. And Mari has the presentation. Mari, you're welcome to like send the presentation out to people.
Yes.
You know, so you'll have all the graphics and everything. I'm happy to share that. Really the next thing that I had for us here is just kind of what felt right for you. What are some techniques that work well for kind of when you're feeling dysregulated? I know we're out of time. I mean, I'm not in a rush, but I don't know how everybody else is doing.
I think you did excellent. I think it was an amazing presentation. I want to say some of the things that I do relate a lot to the stuff you talk about. I love yoga nidra. To me, yoga nidra has been lifesaver, as well as sound healing. I think sound healing is something that I use a lot for myself. It's right behind me. You probably can't see it. I'm blocking it, but I have my bowls. I have acupressure too. I have a mat that helps me. I do it in the morning. Dancing, humming are all great hacks. So I encourage everyone that was on this presentation, if they can take anything away from this, I mean, stress can kill you. It's so important to take care of yourself and put yourself first and prioritize yourself and fill your cup before you do anything. You come first. And I thank Christina. I learned some stuff I did not know. Christina, thank you. Excellent presentation. I'm definitely going to review your PowerPoint later and implement some stuff. I also want to point out one thing that I do that I think is very helpful and has helped me a lot. And I want to get your thoughts on it, but I do what I call brain dumping at the end of the night. And to me, I find that if I don't do that, I have a really hard time going to sleep. I just get anxiety. So for me, using that tool of brain dumping every night, I can wake up the next day feeling very refreshed and not worried, and it takes away a lot of that stress and anxiety.
Yeah, I think that brain dumping is a great idea. It's definitely a great resource. Basically, you just kind of like everything that's on your mind, you just write it on a piece of paper. Like you're not going to solve the world's problems before you go to sleep. The other thing that you can do is something called morning pages in that realm, right? Journaling is really good. Writing things down is really good because you are, first of all, you have to slow down to write. You write slower than you can think.
Right.
So morning pages is essentially a similar thing. It comes from Julia Cameron. She has a book called The Artist's Way. It's a wonderful book, a wonderful process. And morning pages is 3 pages of stream of consciousness writing first thing in the morning. So you just kind of.
Very similar to journaling, right?
and very similar to a brain dump
To
because
brain dumping. So
yeah,
you're like, what
because
you need to get out of that.
whatever comes out, comes out.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot out there, right? So it's hard to know kind of where to begin sometimes, right? But I do have a couple of resources. Again, it's all in the PowerPoint. Mari, please.
Yes, I will share with everyone in the
everybody.
attendee list. Yes.
And of course, you know, I'm always available to answer questions. You can reach me through Instagram or email or what have you. Thank you so much, Donna.
There's a lot of great comments in the
Thank you for
comments.
the feedback,
Yes.
everybody.
We'll definitely want to bring you back, Christina. I think we're actually at In Touch starting a wellness series. We're transitioning from our mentor series into a more wellness series. So I definitely want to bring you back. We'll talk separately about that. And anyone on here, please, if you can connect with Christina directly. I'll share everybody her PowerPoint. I'll email everyone her information. But if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to me or to Christina directly.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me and for your engagement, everybody, and for your feedback. I hope that, you know, you come away with something that is helpful for you. And remember, you know, when you help yourself, you are also helping the people around you. You know, how can we show up in the world as the people that we want to be?
Exactly. I totally agree. Well, thank you again for your time and your expertise. And thank you, everyone. And hopefully everyone has a great day. And if you have any questions before we end, now's your time. But we're going to be closing the chat and closing the program in a minute.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm just reading the comments a little bit more. I'm like,
I just want to close it so that way you can read all the comments, but there was a lot of comments, a lot of great feedback. So
yeah,
I want to make sure you're able to read them.
Yeah, but
I got a lot of private comments too, how great you are. So definitely want to bring you back. Want to make sure everyone does know how to contact you if they need to contact you. So I will share your presentation. And
I think I put, in the last slide, I have my stuff. So, yeah.
That's good. Very informative. Perfect for this time of day to get all this information.
Good. I was a little bit like, oh, is it too much brainy stuff?
No, I think that was the best part because a lot, you know, this topic is everybody talks about it, right? So I think when you get into like the real specifics of it, it's when really you make a difference. Because we can all talk about self-care and good skin. You really gave us the scientifics, and that makes a big difference. So yes, please always go with that.
Oh, great.
It makes a difference.
That's great. I mean, I think so.
People love that.
Yeah,
people love that.
That's the thing. It's like, well, why does the sound bowls work? The sound bowls work because it vibrates in the body. And it stimulates the vagus nerve that tells your brain, like, todo está bien, you're okay.
Yeah, I love them. I have them right behind. I don't know if you can do that now. Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah, they're beautiful.
My salt lamp.
Yeah,
I have them there, and I usually after work, after I shower, I'll come back in and kind of move everything and just put my yoga mat and just do my sound healing, and it just helps for me.
Yeah, it does.
And then I go to bed with yoga nidra.
That's nice. That's really good. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
I'm super happy you were here. I will be in touch with you more. We are starting the wellness series. We're partnering also with an acupuncture doctor.
Oh, cool.
Doing stuff. So maybe I would love to maybe put you in a panel with some of our providers. We can do something fun as well. Because we are working on our women's summit, like a women's retreat. Thinking for July, so it's nothing really recent right now. and hoping, I know you're in South Florida,
Mhm.
so I don't know if I might do it in person. I might try for one in person and one virtual, kind of just seeing how things go.
Sure.
But I think in person will be nice
Mhm.
to do it. It makes a difference in person versus the virtual, but with virtual we can reach more people and it's more convenient for
Right.
everyone.
Right.
So we'll see. A lot of planning, but I definitely want to keep you in mind for that if you're open to bring me back.
Sure. Absolutely. Thank
All right.
you. Thank
Okay,
you
have a
for-
good afternoon. Take care. Bye.